Hi, this is Ray Martinez. Welcome to my mini podcast. Today we're going to be talking about a few things, the remnant and the hardened heart. What is that and what is the difference? So welcome to today's episode. I'm calling it Understanding God's Plan. In our reading from Romans 11, verses 1 through 10, we delve into the concept of the remnant and the hardened. We'll explore the profound insights shared by the Apostle Paul and the significance of these teachings in our lives today. The passage highlights how the hardened individuals are deaf and blind to the gospel, while the remnant represents those who faithfully follow God. We see this pattern throughout history, as even revered figures like Moses, Elijah, and Isaiah were sometimes received well and other times not so well by the people of Israel. It is intriguing to consider that despite performing miraculous deeds, Elijah still experienced fear and doubt. God reminded him that he was not alone in his faithfulness. This reminds us that even the greatest of the individuals may face struggles, but it is through God's strength that they persevere. The Transfiguration account in Matthew 17, verses 1 through 9, shows us that Moses and Elijah, representing the remnant, stood alongside Jesus. This signifies the continuity of God's plan and the importance of remaining faithful amidst adversity. Moving on to Matthew 13, verses 10 through 16, Jesus quotes Isaiah to emphasize the significance of listening with our hearts. The hardening referred to here comes from placing our trust in ourselves rather than in God. Paul reinforces this message, highlighting that salvation is not attained through works, but by God's grace. Paul quotes Isaiah 6:9 and Psalm 69, verses 22 through 23, illustrating how people can hear but not truly understand. Sometimes God allows individuals to fall into blindness and deafness as part of His plan. We may wonder why God allows this hardening of hearts, particularly among the Jewish people, but it is through their trespasses that they come to know the Lord. The jealousy that arises from seeing the Gentiles accept Jesus leads to a desire for the Jews to return to their faith. Timothy, who was considered a Gentile, serves as an example of how God brings people from diverse backgrounds into His family. It is faith, not ethnicity or any other classification, that saves us. Paul was a great mentor to Timothy. When God hardens a specific group of people, it may seem perplexing and even unfair, but the ultimate outcome reveals God's deep care and love. His plan brings more individuals back into His fold. This teaches us to trust God even in circumstances we don't understand, as He always has a better outcome in store for us. Isaiah describes Jesus as the branch coming from Jesse, ensuring that all of God's promises are fulfilled through His death and resurrection. God temporarily hardens Israel due to their resistance, but brings them back because of His unwavering promises. Just as a tree bears fruit, the resurrection of Christ brings forth a bountiful harvest. Gentiles, like wild olive branches, are grafted into this pure olive tree, signifying our inclusion in God's plan. This serves as a spiritual catechism, teaching us to learn and grow through Jesus' teaching. In conclusion, we are encouraged to trust God in all circumstances, even when they seem difficult or challenging. He works all things together for the good of those who love Him. You've heard that before. Let's seek consistent understanding and faith, knowing that God's plan is always at work in our lives. Thank you for joining us today on the understanding of God's plan. I hope this episode has been enlightening and encouraged you. Remember, even in the midst of what may appear difficult, God's ultimate outcome is always for our good. God bless you today.